Natalie Nakase. She is the new head coach of the Golden State Valkyries. She is the first Asian American head coach in WNBA history. She's also the first Asian American coach to be on a championship winning team with the Las Vegas Aces 2 years prior, the 2 years prior. I was listening to the Athletic WNBA podcast, and this was before she got hired, and they were talking about the Aces. It was an Aces specific segment and how tough it's going to be because they tried to three-peat and they had a rough get-go and they got kicked out by New York and all the things. Becky Hammond was just like, we can't bring back the same crew and then they mentioned there's a possibility that Natalie Nakase will get picked up and be a head coach of somebody's team. And that's exactly what happened. I was joking with the Kirk Lacob stuff last time, and we were joking about the Tara Vanderveer stuff. And then literally the day or two after, that's when they announced that she was the head coach. Did you know anything about her before they announced her as the head coach?
Not at all. I'm not in the trenches like that in the WNBA yet. Like where I start knowing who the assistant coaches are. I'm still I'm still trying to figure out who all the head coaches are. I probably know half of her, a little over half. So no, I did not know who she was. But looking at her resume, previously Los Angeles Clippers, you mentioned it, a UCLA walk-on from Irvine. I think she was a UCI transfer to UCLA and then walked on and then is a Los Angeles Clippers assistant coach during the Lob City era. And I think and then the Aces had assistant head coach as well.
Yeah, so she played at UCLA and then professionally in the NWBL. Then she went to Germany to play overseas. And I think she hurt her knee a couple different times before she just retired. And she joined the Clippers as an intern in 2012. Her introductory press conference, I watched it. It's funny because you see a lot of these NBA coaches, they've coached so many different places elsewhere. So you kind of know the pattern of how they're going to say what they're going to say. And she was not patterned at all. This is her first head coaching job. So she was just like, Joe Lacob said, we got to win the title in 5 years. That's our goal. And so it's almost like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself here, but at the same time, you had to enjoy the personality and the fieriness of her personality. So that whole thing was kind of fun to just watch, because if this was like a Warriors press conference, you could predict what the answers are going to be to the questions, right? This very Steve Kerr, unless he's talking about politics, he's not going to surprise you with anything. So it was really nice to see her be so competitive and
yeah, Steve's almost like a politician when he's talking on the mic, like Steph as well. And it's like I'm not as versed in football, but it feels like Dan Campbell from the Lions represents kind of a just say what comes to mind. And those are fun to watch.
Now, Oema was talking about Natalie, and she said, one of the things that she really likes about her, because the goals that they set out in hiring a head coach was being really purpose driven. Now that's kind of this type of language that we hear all that in corporate speak and stuff. But she said that's what they liked about her, was she was extremely driven. And then she talked about creating a winning culture, and she was even like, yeah, we're gonna have this expansion draft. And look, a lot of those players are not going to be on the team when we win a championship. But she was saying,
who said that?
Natalie. She was saying how they're going to have this expansion draft, but by the time they sort of figure out the organization, a lot of those players that they pick will probably not be on the team.
Wow.
But then she said that winners attract winners. And so I took that to mean that a lot of the WNBA players, they look at Joe Lacob and the Warriors culture as a winning culture. And if they can put their best foot forward in Golden State in the WNBA and be like a surprising team early on, that culture will be established with the Valkyries, and she believes that will attract really good players because in the WNBA, the women, they just want to win. It's not like the salaries are that widely different based on where you go and play or whatever. So, hopefully that will change as we get further into this. But that's, I thought that was interesting. It's like, if we prove that we can win early, people know what Joe Lacob did with the Warriors, and you see how the Warriors won 3 titles, and that's going to attract good players. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I also think Joe's checkbook is going to attract winners, as well as his like the culture of the Warriors, in the sense of, the Chicago Sky, they still like play practice in like a high school gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's amenities that the Golden State Valkyries are going to have day one that a lot of other WNBA franchises don't have. They're already going to be playing in the best arena in the WNBA on day one. I think the other only competitive one, like I'm trying to think of who else plays in an NBA arena. The Liberty play in Barclays. They don't play in Madison Square Garden. The Sparks do play in Crypto. So it's just, I think I also think the idea of like trying to like cement yourself in a new franchise's history is going to be appealing as well, especially it being the Bay Area, being San Francisco. But no, I'm really excited for her. It seems like, I think the common theme here has been, Ohema. I think her last name's pronounced Nianin or Nianin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it down 100% yet, but she's a hire from the New York Liberty. She was an assistant GM to the GM, and she gets hired as our GM. The Liberty are currently in the finals. They were in the finals last year. They made home run acquisitions last year in Brianna Stewart. So, they are winners. And then we poached her from the Liberty and to our team, to be our general manager. And then Natalie Nakase from the Las Vegas Aces, who were looking to three-peat. They were back-to-back champions, and we got her from Las Vegas. So just 2 important positions filled by 2 people who were, one step away from being the head coach, from being the general manager on their very successful franchises. So I do like that formula. In order to be the best, take from the best. So I hope that I'm pretty confident on at least the long-term success.